Dawn, with its gentle fingers of light, crept through the narrow window of Blackwood Manor's solar. The ancient stones seemed to absorb the first rays, holding onto the darkness of the night. It was a slow awakening, a gradual unveiling of the world outside. The soft light, still hesitant, cast a pale glow on Sir Calin as he stirred and woke from his slumber. His eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the dimness before focusing on the stone walls that had stood for centuries. The cool air, crisp and invigorating, carried the familiar scent of wood smoke curling from the village chimneys and the damp earth of the surrounding fields. It was a scent that spoke of home, of hearth and of the land. These were constant reminders of the land and the people he was sworn to protect, a solemn vow etched into his very being. The rolling hills, the fertile fields, and the bustling village were all under his watchful eye. Calin sat up slowly, the rough-spun blanket falling away as his bare feet met the cold, unforgiving stone floor. The chill was a jolt, a physical reminder of the world outside the warmth of his bed. It was a sharp signal, an undeniable call that duty awaited and the day's responsibilities were already pressing upon him. There was no time for lingering. The needs of Blackwood came first. Outside, the rooster's insistent crow echoed through the courtyard, and the distant sounds of the village, slowly stirring, signaled the day's official beginning. The rhythmic clang of the blacksmith's hammer, the murmur of voices, and the bleating of sheep all painted a picture of life awakening. A young page, Thomas, entered the chamber quietly, his footsteps barely audible on the stone floor, carrying a basin of fresh water for washing. His movements were disciplined and precise, a testament to his training and a reflection of the order that Sir Calin instilled within the manor. Calin splashed the cool water on his face, shaking off the last vestiges of sleep and preparing himself for the challenges ahead. He quickly dressed in simple, practical clothing, a linen tunic and a warm wool overcoat, garments befitting a man of action rather than ostentation. He turned and gazed out the window, his eyes sweeping across the familiar landscape of fields and the bustling village nestled below. These were his people, his responsibility, his charge. Their safety, their well-being and their prosperity rested squarely on his shoulders, a burden he carried with unwavering resolve. It was a weight as real and tangible as any suit of armor, a constant reminder of the power he wielded and the lives he influenced. There was no room for idleness or complacency. Every single day demanded unwavering vigilance, careful stewardship, and a deep commitment to the well-being of Blackwood. Calin was far more than just a soldier or a knight. He was the protector, the judge, and the steward of Blackwood, responsible for every aspect of its life. And as the sun climbed higher in the sky, painting the ancient stones with golden light, his day as both lord and knight had truly begun, filled with challenges and opportunities to serve his people. The great hall, the central gathering place and heart of Blackwood Manor, was unusually quiet this morning. The first rays of dawn filtered through the high windows, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. Calin, Lord Blackwood's most trusted knight, took his customary seat at the head table, the heavy oak creaking slightly beneath him. He surveyed the hall, a familiar space that held countless memories. His breakfast was simple as always, reflecting the practical nature of a warrior's life. A hearty slab of rye bread, dark and dense, sat before him. Next to it a wedge of hard cheese, its aged surface hinting at a sharp, tangy flavor. A bowl of leftover pottage, a thick, nourishing stew completed the meager spread. It was a far cry from the feasts of the wealthy, but it served its purpose. And to wash it all down, a mug of small ale, its low alcohol content enough to quench his thirst without dulling his senses. It was simple fuel for a working knight, a meal designed to provide sustenance and energy for the demanding tasks ahead. Richard, his young and eager squire, stood attentively by his side, ready to serve his mentor's every need. Calin outlined the day's training regimen, his voice calm and measured, explaining each drill and its purpose. He emphasized the importance of discipline and precision. Their bond was built not only on duty, but on a foundation of mutual trust and dedicated mentorship. Calin saw in Richard a reflection of his younger self. Richard's future as a knight, a dream he held close to his heart, depended heavily on the lessons and guidance he received from Calin, his experienced mentor. Gradually, the hall began to fill with the sounds of the waking household, a symphony of clattering dishes and hushed conversations. Lady Eleanor, her brow furrowed in concentration, oversaw the manor's intricate inner workings, ensuring the smooth operation of the estate. But Kaelin's world extended far beyond these walls. His true domain was outside, in the sprawling fields that sustained the manor, the rigorous training yard where he honed his skills, and in unwavering service to his lord, a sacred duty he embraced without question. With a curt nod to Richard, a silent signal passed between them. Kaelin indicated that it was time to prepare for the day's real work, the tasks that defined his existence, the tools of his trade. The gleaming armor and the razor-sharp sword awaited him, symbols of his commitment. And so, every morning, the unwavering cycle of duty, discipline, and preparation began anew, a rhythm that governed his life. The knight's life was not one of opulent luxury or idle pleasure, but one of profound purpose, a life dedicated to protecting those under his charge. With a sense of resolve, Kaelin rose from the table, ready to don the cold steel that marked him as the protector of his realm, a shield against the darkness. Arming a knight was far more than simply donning protective gear. It was a sacred ritual, steeped in tradition, requiring precision, meticulous attention to detail, and above all, unwavering trust between the knight and his squire. It was a process that forged a bond as strong as the steel they were about to face. In the arming chamber, a space filled with anticipation and the scent of leather and steel, Richard, Kaelin's loyal squire, began the intricate process by helping Kaelin into his gambeson. This padded undergarment was the foundation of the knight's defense. Next came the padded chausses, carefully fitted to his legs, the first crucial layer of defense against the coming weight of steel and the potential blows of battle. They were essential for comfort and protection. The mail hauberk, a testament to the armorer's craft, settled heavily over Kaelin's shoulders. It was both heavy and surprisingly flexible, a river of interlocking metal links designed to deflect and absorb the force of incoming attacks. This was followed by a coif of similar construction, meticulously placed to protect his neck and scalp, leaving no vulnerable area exposed. With practiced hands, Richard tightened every strap and buckle, ensuring a snug and secure fit. Each adjustment was critical. He knew that a single flaw, a loose connection, or a poorly fitted piece could be fatal in the heat of combat, leaving Kaelin vulnerable to a well-aimed strike. Then came the plate armor, piece by piece, each meticulously crafted to provide maximum protection. First the greaves to protect the shins, then the paulins guarding the knees, and finally the cuisses encasing the thighs in steel. Vambraces shielded the forearms, while rear braces covered the upper arms, creating a seamless defense. Each piece was carefully layered, overlapping to provide comprehensive protection while allowing for a surprising degree of mobility. The heavy breastplate pressed down onto Kaelin's chest, a solid barrier against any frontal assault. With each piece added, Kaelin was transforming into something more than a man. He became a living weapon, an embodiment of martial prowess and unwavering resolve. Finally, the gauntlets completed the suit, encasing his hands in steel. These allowed him to grip his sword with unwavering strength and security, ensuring he would never lose his weapon in the chaos of battle. The sheer weight of the armor would crush the untrained, rendering them immobile and vulnerable. But for Kaelin, after years of training, it was a second skin, an extension of his own body. With the armor complete, Richard handed over the sword belt, a symbol of Kaelin's authority and martial skill. The long sword, his trusted companion, settled comfortably at Kaelin's hip, ready to be drawn at a moment's notice. The great helm, the final piece of the puzzle, would wait for the heat of battle, providing ultimate protection when needed. But for now, Kaelin was ready for the training yard, eager to hone his skills and prepare for any eventuality. Encased within the cold steel, he was no longer just a landowner or a nobleman. He was Sir Kaelin, a knight sworn to protect the realm and a guardian of the innocent. The transformation was both physical and mental, a daily reminder of the immense responsibility he carried and the sacrifices he might have to make. Every meticulously crafted piece of armor was not just a defense, but a solemn promise to defend the weak and uphold justice. The ancient ritual was finally complete. The true test of his preparation, the challenges of the day now awaited him. With a newfound sense of purpose, Kaelin stepped out of the arming chamber, fully prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, his armor gleaming in the morning light. The training yard echoed with the clang of steel and the thud of hooves. Kalen, armored and resolute, led Valor, his warhorse, through drills at the Quintain, testing speed, accuracy, and horsemanship. Each charge honed his skill for the chaos of real battle. Sword practice followed. Richard, padded and armed, sparred with Kalen in a dance of attack and defense. Kalen moved with surprising agility, teaching Richard to use shield and sword as extensions of himself. He corrected footwork, emphasizing that victory began from the ground up. The yard rang with the rhythm of blades, a lesson in stamina, strategy, and resolve. Training was grueling, forging Squire into knight through sweat and discipline. Here in the dirt and sun, the true work of knighthood was done. Every blow, every parry was preparation for the real dangers beyond the manor walls. Under Kalen's watchful eye, the next generation of knights was shaped. After training, Kalen shed his armor and turned to the business of lordship. In his study, the Reeve Godwin reported on crops, livestock, and a land dispute needing judgment. Kalen listened, asked sharp questions, and ruled fairly. Balancing justice and practicality, he approved repairs, ensured the sick were cared for, and kept the manor's needs in order. A knight's strength was rooted in the well-being of his people. Prosperity and loyalty mattered more than walls or weapons. Managing the manor's income was as vital as wielding a sword. It funded his household and military duties. Without sound stewardship, he could not serve his overlord, Baron Fitzalan. The day's decisions shaped the lives of all who depended on him. Administration was less glorious than battle, but just as essential. Kalen's authority rested on both justice and care. A knight's life was bound by duty to his lord and land. Kalen held Blackwood Manor in fief, sworn to serve Baron Fitzalan with arms and counsel. A messenger arrived. Kalen was summoned to court not for war but to advise and witness justice. Duty meant more than battle. It was loyalty, vigilance, and readiness. Kalen inspected the manor's defenses, spoke with guards, and ensured all was secure. Even in peace, threats lingered. Bandits, rival lords, wild beasts. When a farmer reported a wolf near the sheep, Kalen led his men to protect the flock. Not every battle was glorious, but each was vital to his people's safety. Service to the community earned respect and loyalty, not just obedience. Protection was personal and constant, the heart of his role. Every action reinforced the bond between knight and those he served. Kalen's rule was built on consent, not fear. The day's trials reminded Kalen of the code that defined knighthood, chivalry. More than courage and loyalty, it demanded justice, mercy, and protection for the weak. Honor was a knight's true currency, measured by actions, not words. Kalen's fair rulings and defense of his people were daily tests of this code. Chivalry shaped his conduct from truthfulness to generosity and mercy. The code was imperfectly kept, but it remained a powerful guide. Songs and stories celebrated these ideals, holding knights to a higher standard. For Kalen, chivalry was practical, a guide for every decision and duty. Authority came not just from the sword, but from living by these ideals. To be a true knight was to strive for honor even when perfection was out of reach. Evening brought warmth and laughter to Blackwood Manor's great hall. Supper was a communal feast, roasted meats, bread and ale shared by all. Kalen sat with Lady Eleanor and a visiting merchant, enjoying good food and conversation. The hall buzzed with games, stories, and the simple pleasures of company. After the meal, Kalen played chess, a battle of wits to match the day's physical trials. Others played dice or board games, voices rising in friendly rivalry. These moments of leisure were a welcome respite from duty and discipline. On grander days, tournaments and feasts would fill the calendar, but tonight's joy was simple. The fire's glow, the taste of wine, and the company of his household were reward enough. Merriment was as essential as vigilance, restoring spirit for the days ahead. The knight's life was not all hardship, it held moments of genuine happiness. As night fell, the manor quieted, the fire's glow fading to embers. Kalen and Lady Eleanor retired to their solar, a rare space of privacy. He checked his armor and sword. Rituals of readiness before rest. Only when his tools were prepared could he sleep soundly. The day's rhythm, training, judgment, protection, and fellowship echoed in his mind. Each role was essential, each responsibility intertwined. The weight of duty was constant, but so was his resolve. Kalen extinguished the candle, darkness settling in. The sounds of the manor faded, replaced by the peace of night. He slept, knowing he had done his duty and upheld his honor. Tomorrow he would rise again, a knight, ever vigilant, ever true.